Okay, we're against Warlock again. This is an interesting mulligan decision because we have Big Game Hunter, and the question is, do we think it's Handlock enough to keep Big Game Hunter? So we can wait and see what his mulligan decision looks like. For those of you who don't know, it's widely considered to be that Handlocks mulligan more cards than Zoos do, because Zoo is more like, they have so many low mana cards, they're more likely to draw a good hand to start off with than Handlock is. Handlock's mainly just looking for like Twilight Drakes and Mountain Giants, maybe a Darkbomb or two. And waiting also conceals what kind of Warlock we are from him. So I decided to dump the Big Game Hunter, and I think he kept 2 cards. So he may or may not be Zoo or Handlock. It's hard to tell with that keep. The reason why I didn't hedge and keep Big Game Hunter is because I believe the matchup of this deck against Handlock to be so strong that I would rather try and mulligan for a good Zoo hand and try to make up ground later if it's Handlock than to keep a good Handlock hand and have a weaker Zoo hand. But it turns out he is Handlock. He tapped on turn 2, did nothing on turn 1. And we did the same. But now we have a problem. So we have 9 cards in hand. So if we tap, we'll go up to 10. And if we draw anything other than Mistress of Pain, which is only a 1-of in our deck, then we'll be forced to just like Darkbomb its face. So the question is digging deeper into our deck worth wasting a Darkbomb? It's essentially a waste of a Darkbomb. And it's a real question. Like, digging through the deck is really valuable in this matchup. But I decided not to go for it. And now we wish we'd kept the Big Game Hunter, obviously. Because we have no way to deal with this. And we have to use a card here. So I could have Healbotted, but that doesn't heal for much. I could have Faceless, which is a really interesting decision. So normally you'd think, man, I'm definitely going to Faceless this 8/8. But I feel like the full combo is really valuable to have in this matchup. Handlocks can stabilize around 17 or 18 and stay that way the whole game. But it's asking a lot of them to stabilize around 24. So I think we want the full 24. So I just threw away the Implosion so that I could keep the Faceless. And he has a second Mountain Giant, so we're facing a lot of pressure here. And we don't draw Siphon Soul. So we can deal with 1 Giant, luckily. It's going to be a 2-for-1. We're going to double Darkbomb it, but I think we have to do that. Other options are like Darkbomb, run the Imp in, and double Mortal Coil, but I don't see how that's better. I guess it digs through our deck a little bit faster. So there's some merit to it, but it does waste the 1/1, which kind of sucks. So I'm going to Darkbomb. That puts us down to 9 cards, which means I can tap up to 10 and then Darkbomb again down to 9. I'm thinking here whether it's safe to tap or not. So I'll put us down to 16, can do 8. I'm just going to assume he's a Handlock without much burst, because most Handlocks these days don't have much burst. So his burst would be like double Darkbomb. So that'd be 6 plus 8, which would be 14. Lotheb, that's pretty scary, because even if we draw into Siphon Soul, we can't use it. And he coins out an Ooze. Interesting use of the coin there. Yeah. I guess he thinks we're Zoo with a really bad start, and he just wants good board position. I guess it also probably sets up lethal for him. Let's see. It's 11, 16. Yeah, that's exactly 16. So that's why he did it. It sets up lethal. Yeah, so here we could either Belcher or Healbot, and I normally like to get the Belcher out first, but Handlocks almost always run 2 Owls, and Owl would be lethal, and he's drawn so many cards that it's very likely he has Owl. But Healbot lets us survive against almost anything in his deck, I would say. Unless he's also running Power Overwhelming and some extra fancy stuff, we should survive this turn. He Belchers, and he doesn't hit us because of fear of Molten Giant. So he thinks we're Handlock now. And that's actually really good for us, because that gives us some leeway to survive a little bit longer. Now for 8 mana, well, first of all, we do have a Black Knight target, but we would likely die, I would think. Let's see, 9, 14. We might die. It's not a surety. The safer play would be to Belcher, and then if we Belcher, I think we die to Owl and Darkbomb, which isn't that unlikely. So we'd also have to heal up with Earthen Ring. Imp Gang Boss would be a little bit stronger if we knew we weren't going to die, but I want to make sure we don't die this turn. Alright, he makes an interesting Hellfire there just to kill the Earthen Ring. Hellfire is not good in Handlock mirrors, so I can see why I just threw one away there, essentially. And he Arguses, which is actually fantastic news for us. And he also doesn't hit us down. Again, still afraid of Molten Giants. So Argus lets us Black Knight. I think that's pretty much a given here. And then with the 3 remaining mana, I don't see any. I think the obvious play is to Imp Gang Boss. He takes out the Gang Boss completely, and then drops a Rag. And Rag hits our Black Knight. It's okay. We draw Siphon Soul right on time for this Rag, so that seems like it's definitely going to happen, but another thing that seems like it's definitely going to happen is taking out a 4-1 with Immortal Coil. So I think I'll do that first, just in case. Okay, we didn't draw anything that will really change our plans. So we're going to Siphon Soul, and again we have 3 mana, so again we will play an Imp Gang Boss. Play Sylvanas. It's not the scariest Sylvanas in the world because we don't have any valuable minions on the board. We can't really take it out immediately. Implosion is strong against Sylvanas because it makes a really high chance that she'll just steal a useless 1/1 imp. So that means we can probably play Twilight Drake and not worry about it too much. We do have the Owl as backup. I'd rather save the Owl and be able to use it on a Drake or a taunt, breaking through a taunt later in conjunction with our combo. So we're not going to silence Sylvanas yet because it doesn't look like there's a way to kill her unless he uses like a Darkbomb or Mortal Coil. And even if he does kill her, it's not like he's going to steal anything amazing, most likely. The only thing this is weak to is a Shadow Flame. With a Shadow Flame, I'm actually not certain whether he's guaranteed to get the 4/2 Drake or whether he might get the 1/1 Imp produced by the Imp Gang Boss. Either way, it's not that bad. The Belcher, that complicates things a bit. Knocking down the health on his Sylvanas and also taking down the Imp Gang Boss. And a Sun Fury. Interesting that he taunts the Sylvanas there. So, this is a complex board state. We want to kill Sylvanas while having the maximum number of 1/1s on the board, so we would run the Twilight Drake into the Sylvanas first. The problem with that is, we'll say he steals a 1/1, Then we have 3 1/1s and a Mortal Coil, which is not quite enough to take out the Sludge Belcher. So it's not like we can't cleanly kill stuff. We can Hellfire. So we could ram the Drake into the Belcher and then Hellfire. Then you'd get a 4/1 Drake and a 1/2 Slime. Which is also not, I mean, that's a pretty good play, I guess. But what I end up deciding to do is blow my silence. It may not be the best one, but I had to start formulating a game plan before the rope showed up. Because I don't want to panic and end up getting a really big thing stolen. And note that it was really important there to attack with the imps first before silencing. Otherwise, I couldn't get to Sylvanas to kill her and mortal coil her. So we're left with a pretty strong board, and he has a pretty weak board. But of course, Handlocks have lots of ways from coming back from their opponent having strong boards. He runs BGH out there naked so that he can Shadow Flame it. So that we have Alex in hand, so we're gonna have to think very carefully here about, do Handlocks run second Big Game Hunter? Some of them do. And does he have the second one? Because I believe the card on the left of his hand has been there the entire game, and he kept it in his mulligan. So that could be a Big Game Hunter, maybe an Owl, or maybe it was like a anti-zoo card like Darkbomb. The thing is, if we play Alex and it doesn't get BGH'd, and it is, don't get me wrong, it is pretty unlikely to have 2 BGHs in Handlock. If we play Alex and it doesn't get BGH'd, there's a lot of pressure we got there. We got the double power overwhelming too. Also, the thing to think about is, do we Alex him or do we Alex us? If we Alex him, he goes down to 5. He hasn't played any Moltens yet, so he could play a Molten and like a Molten Sunfury or Molten Defender. So we kind of don't want to put him in Molten range. Like, we have plenty of bursts. There's no sense in putting him any closer to Molten range than necessary. So healing for 1 is not a very strong Alex play, but I think it's the strongest one in this scenario. Okay, it looks like he's going to be a double Darkbomb and trading the Sunfury on the Alex, so I'm glad we played Alex. And the card he was holding on the left was a Darkbomb. And he Healbots to get back up to 26, so even if we had full combo, it would not be lethal here. So what do we do here? We could Hellfire just the 3/3. Sounds bad, but it's actually not that bad of a play. I think I said earlier that Hellfire is pretty weak in the Handlock mirror. And then that would let us tap and Belcher or Healbot. So we do the tap first. And I am going to Hellfire. Another bonus of this is it does get him to 24 or below, so the combo would be lethal. And I'm going to play the Belcher. The Belcher's not the most mana efficient, but it is a better body. It looks like he wants to play something before tapping, maybe. So I think he has probably 10 mana worth of stuff in his hand. But he does end up deciding to go with the tap. And he's still looking at that 1 card. So I was thinking maybe it's a 5 mana card, and he has another 5 mana card that he wanted to play instead of tapping. But that's pretty weak conjecture, I would say. It's a Twilight Drake. And a silence. So he silences a Belcher when there's usually a lot better silence targets. That says to me he's setting up for lethal. He's got 6, 7, 8, and I've got 10 health. So he's used both Dark Bombs. I don't remember if he's used second Hellfire. Maybe this signals he has second Hellfire. Or maybe he just wants to scare me away from tapping. Or maybe he realizes that he needs 2 taunts to prevent lethal, possibly. In any case, we do have the Healbot, so we're a lot safer than it looks. So safe that I have enough health to tap. So I tap, and I have to Healbot, and then the only question left is, obviously we're not going to play BGH. Do we play the Bloodmage? We have Hellfire in hand, so Bloodmage may have more use than just drawing a card and being a 1/1. And the Drake will likely end up at 4 health. So I decided to hold on to the Bloodmage. Another thing is I'm getting really far through my deck, so it's not like I need to desperately draw really quickly anymore. He plays Thaurissan. That's kind of scary. And we draw Mistress. So if I remember correctly from when I was playing this game, I have 2 cards left at this point. And those 2 cards were Drake and Siphon Soul, if I was keeping track right. So if we tap and we get Siphon Soul, that would be fine, because we could kill the Thaurissan. If we tap and we get Drake, it's a little bit scarier. We're at 14, he has 9. But he still probably couldn't kill us. The only thing is Thaurissan stays on the board, which kind of sucks. But if Drake is the next card in our deck, there's really no way around it. Thaurissan is going to stay on the board. Another option here is to not tap first and to instead do a Bloodmage Hellfire, which would give us enough mana that we could play the Drake afterwards. And it will draw us a card because of the Bloodmage, so we might get the Drake. We don't get the Drake. I don't want to tap here because I only have 1 card left, I think, so tapping would be like objectively worse than not tapping. And I just dropped the Mistress. It contests the Thaurissan. You know, no reason not to play it. So he finally gets out of Molten. And he plays a Healbot. So he's at 25. And he's able to kill our Mistress, so he's just out of range. I suspect that was intentional. So the play is pretty obvious here. We got a big game hunter, that Molten, and we're going to drop the Twilight Drake, so obviously we want to Drake first, and don't want to tap. Now we could have Siphon Soul instead of Big Game Hunter, but Big Game Hunter only applies to giants, while Siphon Soul could be used to take out a taunt that was in our way or something like that. And I don't think I need the healing right now. Targeting the Drake, yeah, that's an owl. And a boom. But that's enough damage. So it looks like we're going to win this game. And he gives us the well played, so I think he knows it. So that was actually more stressful than most Handlock games, because he had a pretty good opener with double Mountain Giant, and we did not have Siphon Soul or Big Game Hunter. But even then, we were still able to win this game.